Hello, welcome back. On my last video, I walked through this new Stampin' Up! Autumn to Remember Scrapbooking Workshop Kit. I fell in love with the papers and the sticker sheet and knew right away I wanted to scrapbook my family photos using this line. I have pulled out the wood grain paper first because that's going to be my background. These photos were taken back in fall of 2021. I absolutely love how they turned out, and I'm really excited to be finally documenting them with you today. I'm going to use 3 different pattern papers on this design, as well as cardstock from the kit and some from my stash. I don't usually go for cutesy animal printed papers, but this one has all the colors I wanted to incorporate in my layout, and it lends itself beautifully with the wood grain paper. I'm just using a 3-inch strip on either side of my page, therefore it's not going to overpower it. Next, I'm grabbing the Cajun Craze color. It is going to be at the bottom of my layout. I'm not following the pre-designed layout from Stampin' Up, but instead I have incorporated a sketch that I found from the Creative Design Team's Volume 1 Sketchbook. This will be my starting off point. I purchased it online. Just Google Creative Design Team for the download. I'm also bringing in brown cardstock from my stash. This is very similar to Early Espresso from Stampin' Up. All the supplies that I have used will be in the description box below, as well as links to find them. So here is roughly what my layout is going to look like. I have a frame style using basic white as my background with the wood grain as my main paper. Then the Forest Friends on each side and the Cajun Craze at the bottom. The brown cardstock is what I'm using to mat my photos. And yeah, I'm really liking the way that this is looking so far. So here's my main focal photo. It is 5 by 7. I do print my photos at home. I used to order that bunch of photos at a time, get them printed out, and I found that I didn't use half of the photos that I printed for my layouts. Now these pictures are approximately 3 by 2 3/4, and I printed them all with a white border. On the right-hand side, I am arranging the photos across the page this way, using the brown cardstock behind them. Now that I have chosen my papers and my layout, I'm going to go ahead and cut everything off camera, and so we can get started putting this layout together. So now all my pattern papers are cut down to size. I have 2 4-inch strips on each side of my layout. The wood grain paper has been cut to approximately 7.5 by 7.5, and the other one is 8 by 4. I also am going to ink my edges using my ink blending As I'm inking the edges of these papers, I'll tell you a bit about the pictures I am documenting. Like I said, these were taken in the fall of 2021. We were at a clearing on the side of a secondary highway close to home. It's hard to believe it from these pictures. There was big trucks and cars whirling by. The boys were not too thrilled about having family pictures taken. You know, teenage boys. But they went along with what I had asked or what the photographer had asked them to do with no too many faces or complaints. Here I am talking about something you should be aware when you are cutting your pages, looking at the back side of the papers to make sure that when you do cut your strips, the other side is still functioning. So now that my edges are inked, I'm going to go ahead and attach my papers to my white cardstock. Right about here is where I noticed that there is a small gap between my papers. I'm not too worried about it. I do have a plan to cover that up later. So my plan is to use this sticker from this sticker sheet to cover the gap I have on my pages. The sticker is approximately 3/4 of an inch wide, and I'm going to cut it in half to about 1/4 of an inch. Another story about these pictures. My youngest son broke his arm in the second week of school. We were very lucky. It was a clean break and he only needed to a sling to keep it in place while it healed. As long as we kept his arm supported, we could take the sling off, snap a few pictures, and put it back on. Hopefully nobody can tell. I chose this title from the sticker sheet, Grateful for the Moments Together. I am very grateful I have gotten these family pictures taken and for all the moments I have with these special guys in my life. So the title is definitely fitting. I additioned the title in a few different areas on my layout, but decided that this was the best spot for it to land. For my embellishments, I am using these leaves from the workshop kit. They are meant for project 2 if you're following the directions in the kit. Also, I'm bringing in Stampin' Up's Autumn to Remember stamp set. I'm going to use the Crisp Autumn Days stamp as a subtitle or extra sentiment on my layout. I am also using Changing Leaves stamp set with coordinating dies. At the time of recording this video, the stamp set with dies was not available, but the stand-alone stamp set is. I will link both of them in the description box below. I'm using the coordinating inks Mossy, Mildew, Cajun Craze, Pumpkin Pie, Crushed Curry, and Pecan Pie. My plan is to stamp each leaf in the matching cardstock for a tone-on-tone look. I always use scrap paper to test my stamps before committing to the cardstock. As you can see, my stamp has missed this spot, but it's okay. I'm going to use it under another leaf so no one will know, right? As much as I can, I try to be a clean as you go kind of gal. So here I am cleaning my stamps. I'm going to continue stamping my other leaves, switching my ink to match the cardstock. A quick tip when die cutting over stamped images, I like to use washi tape to hold them in place. I am really happy with the way my leaves have turned out. I like to use odd numbers when building and creating my embellishment clusters. I just find it more pleasing to the eye. These leaves are one of my favorites from the Changing Leaves die set. I've seen some artists use the die set to cut glimmer paper, so it's definitely something on my wish list. I've used the Tombow Mono Liquid Glue to attach this green 1/4 inch strip of cardstock to my layout. Otherwise, I use the Easy Runner roller. It's perfect size for my hand. I do have the Stampin' Up stamping seal adhesive in my cart, and I am excited to give that a try. Off camera, I stamped Crisp Autumn Days from the Autumn to Remember stamp set onto a piece of white cardstock and cut it out using my stitched circle die. My circle dies get a lot of mileage and are a staple in my craft room. I have tucked all the leaves under my title and under the circle in the lower right-hand corner. I tried out some leaves and some hearts, but I didn't like the way the hearts looked on the page. This upper right-hand area looks bare, so I'd like to bring in some stickers from the sticker sheet. I'd like these tags, and they carry over the color from the bottom of the page up to the top. I have green in the other embellishment clusters, so I want to bring something green up here to draw your eye around the page more freely. So I'm looking at these green sentiment stickers on the sticker sheet. One says, can't get enough of this. No. Give thanks. I don't like that either. The happy days, it's too big and won't work. But let me see. I do like this one. Days to remember. Yeah, I like that. Here I am removing the sticky from the sticker sheet before I set them in their spot. This way I can move them around before I commit them to their final resting spot. I still want to bring green up in this area. I'm going to grab my Mossy Meadow green cardstock to cut an additional tag to go up here. I'm using my Fiskars paper trimmer to make a 2 inch by 2 inch square that I'll dovetail on one end. For me, the easiest way to dovetail, I cut a slit up the middle and snip from each corner up to it. I hope that makes sense. Something like this. Okay, so let's try this out. I'm rearranging my cluster to get it the way I like, and I think I want this more in the middle. Yep, this is still a little too sticky. And let's try this one on this side and that one there. And then the sentiment right in the middle. Rearrange one more time. And I think we got it. I used Stampin' Dimensionals foam mounts to attach my sticker word sentiment to the page. I dived into my stash to find these brads. I don't know about you guys, but I still have a ton of these. It's time to use them up. I'm going to make a conscious effort to use them on every layout. Anyone else have brads collecting dust on the back of their shelf in their crafty space? Bring them out. Let's put them on the pages. I like to nestle them into areas between the leaves. I'm going to use the 2 sizes that I have here and place them in a triangle around my 2 main clusters. I'm using my paper piercer with my foam mat under. I'll get my journaling done off camera and adhere it to the bottom of the right hand page. I'm going to write about how happy I am with the way our pictures turned out, as well as the situation of my son Evan's broken arm. So I'm really happy with the way my pages turned out. I used a minimal design because I wanted my beautiful family pictures to take center stage. Thank you for taking the time to join me. I would love it if you subscribed to my channel. If you enjoyed this project, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. Feel free to leave a comment below. Tell me about your family photo experiences. Has anyone else had to hide a broken limb in their photos? Until next time, happy crafting, everyone.